You're about to watch a live stream from our Facebook group. It's a club where we pretty much just talk about board games all day long. Usually I'll live stream at least once a day, and everyone's invited. It's free, obviously. So if you're interested in coming to hang out with us, click the link in the description below. Hope to see you there. All right, today, by the way, hello everybody. Today I have sort of a request from my cousin. I did a picture and I've done a live stream before about my first Carcassonne or Kids of Carcassonne. And my cousin said that she was thinking of getting the upgraded version, the regular version, but she didn't know if it would be too hard for her kids. So I'm going to go over the scoring today. And this is for Carcassonne. This is kind of an old edition, so I don't know what it looks like now. But what I'm going to do is just kind of review the game, review the rules. They're pretty simple except for farmer scoring, and that's the main reason why I want to make this video. Just kind of quickly show how that works. So let me zoom on in, and by the way, you might be able to see my nose is a little red somewhere around here. As I was getting my 2-year-old dressed, he fell over and decided to use my nose as a catching post and just fell to the ground while ripping the flesh off. So I got a little Rudolph thing going, please just allow that. All right, so let's zoom in on here. So what I did was, you don't normally start with this. There is a starting tile. I forget where it is. It looks something like this. And that's where the game just sort of starts. And then each person just kind of takes a tile as they go. So it's not like everybody has their own tiles. You just have stacks of tiles around face down, and then you just grab whichever one. It doesn't matter. And so what I did was I just laid out the board as it might have played after, I guess 15 turns or however many tiles are here, just to show how the scoring goes. So really, these two people would be scored at whatever they would be at this point, let's say 10 to 15. So everyone starts with 7 meeples, and then they put one of their meeples. So really there's 8. So you use 7, you put one of your meeples here on the scoring. And scoring is done a few different ways. So what you do is when you start your turn, you take a tile and then you place it somewhere. And then you have the option to place a meeple. You can only place it on whatever tile you're putting down this turn. You can't place it and then put your meeple on some other spot that's nice. So let's say I have this and I want to make let's say a thief. Okay, so here's a good spot. Well, let me see if I could score this actually. You know what, let me give okay, tell you what, we'll go like this. So let us do, no, you know what, let's do a knight. So I'm going to put this here, and let's say I'm the blue player right now. And I could place this on here. I'm going to place it in the city, which makes him a knight. And so knight scoring, once you close it off, the city, it's worth 2 points for every tile that the city is in, plus 2 points for every pendant, which is this shield-looking symbol here. See, that shield? If you have that, it's worth an extra 2 points. And so let's say red goes now, and red takes a tile, and let's say red takes this tile here. And it's a crossroad, and where the road ends here, that shows the road ending. It's not just a curve, it's ending here. So what red is going to do is they're going to place here, and it's a little off camera so you can't see, but this road is ended because of where it just ended here and where it's already ending here. And so if they put their meeple on there, that's considered a thief because it's on the road. And what thieves score is 1 point for every tile when you close the road. So this would be worth 1, 2, 3 points. I'd actually get this meeple right back because it's all closed off. So let's say it's blue's turn now, and they want in on that thief action. And so they see a road, and they place their thief down here. Now, because this isn't closed off, this isn't worth any points yet. There are partial points at the end of the game, but they won't get this meeple back until the end of the game, or until they close off the road. So a lot of Carcassonne is you don't want to leave too many of your pieces out, because then if you have none left, then you can't use them in the future if you might have a good scoring opportunity. So just to continue, let's say red grabs a tile, and let's say they grab a cloister. And so when you place tiles, they have to match up. So for instance, I couldn't put this here, right? Because there's no road here. A road can't just end at a grass field. So I have to put it on a spot where it's grass on both sides. So grass here, good to go. You can never place it diagonally like that. It always has to touch at least one side. And so red's going to put their meeple there on the cloister. And how that is scored is you get 1 point for every tile around it, including itself, once they're all filled. So what you really want to do is place this somewhere where there's already a lot of tiles. So here there were 3. That was okay. It would have been great if they could have gone, say, here, because then they would only need 1 more tile to finish this up. But it didn't fit there because of the road and the castle. So what red would do as the game progressed is try to place more tiles around here to score this and get this meeple back so they could use it in other places. So to continue, let's say blue pulls a tile and he pulls this and he sees a good opportunity to close off his little castle here. So you can see this lines up because this side has to face a castle, this side has to face a grass field, so he's all good. So he gets his knight back, and that's worth 2, 4, 6 points. So here we go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And notice that we didn't score red for this because you only score them once you get them back, or at the end of the game for partial points. And so you just kind of keep doing this. So we've seen scoring for knights. Again, that's 2 points per tile that has the castle space, plus 2 points for a pendant. So this, someone would have already closed this off. This is worth 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 points, this castle right here. And then you just kind of keep going. Now, where it gets confusing is when it comes to farmer scoring, because everybody has partial points. So let's say the game ended here, right? Red would get, and obviously these would be all spread out and there would be a lot more points, but let's just simplify it. Let's say this is where the game ends. Red would get 1, 2, 3, 4 points for partially completing the cloister. Blue would get 2 points for a partially completed road. And let's just also say that blue had a knight here, a partially finished castle. Now, partially finished castles pay the least. Normally they're 2 points per tile, but if it at the end of the game, if it's partially complete, it's just 1 point. So they would have just gotten 1. So now where it gets really confusing is with farmer scoring. For a lot of people, it's very confusing. So farmers you never get back. You place them during the game, and then you score at the end of the game. You get 4 points for every completed castle that the farm touches. So let's say there was a farmer here, a blue farmer, and let's say there was a red farmer here, and then let's say there is a red farmer here and a blue farmer here. Now, normally you can't place a farmer down if there's already a farmer in the same farm, right? And same thing with regular Carcassonne. If there was a thief here, and then if I, as the red player, were to place this down, I wouldn't be able to place a thief on the same road. Instead, what you have to do is roundabout figure out a way to get in there. So let's say I had placed this, let's just say that it made sense somehow. Let's say this made sense. I placed the thief here, and then later on connected the road, then we would share points. So that's a strategy that a lot of people do to try to get in on somebody else's work, to try to sneak in and get their points. So you have to do the same thing with farmers. So let's say at some point there was no red farmer here, and let's say there was a red farmer, and the red farmer says, hey, there's no completed cities, because that's how farmers get points, when there's completed cities within their farm. And they say, hey, I want in on some of this action over here. Let me place another tile, and then boom, these farms are now connected. So how it works is whoever has the most farmers wins the city. And this is confusing because you might look at this and say, well, okay, here's, here they're 1-to-1, so who gets points for what? And so what you have to do is you have to take it city by city and count the amount of farmers that are touching that city. So it's not all even. You wouldn't look at this and say, well, there's 2 blue and 2 red, I guess they're even. That's not the case. You take it city by city. So for instance, this city, how many farmers are touching it? And by touching it, I mean you just go out on the field and see how many farmers you could draw a straight line from without hitting a road or an edge or something like that. So for instance, you could obviously touch this farmer, you could reach this farmer, but you could not reach this farmer without going through the city. So this farmer is not feeding the city. This farmer is definitely not feeding the city. So what you would do is you go and you see this one, blue and red both have 1 farmer touching it, so they both get the points, the 4 points. See? So then you go to the next one, and this farm, who's touching it? Red is touching it here, blue is touching it here, but then on this side, red is also touching it. So this particular city has 2 red farmers to 1 blue farmer, so red gets all the points. Red gets 4 points here. And then if we were to go to this city, just blue. Red isn't touching it at all, so blue would get 4 points for that city. So it's a little confusing because most people try to think of it as the farm that is getting the points, but really it's the cities that are getting the points, and the farmers are contributing to it. And it's usually a little more obvious when you have a farmer on the other side of a city as opposed to a big open area, which happens a lot with Carcassonne. So that's pretty much the hardest part. I know, at least my version comes with a little farm sheet that tries to explain it, but it's still not that great. So I would suggest just kind of laying out different things, reading the rules a few times. See, hopefully this video helps. But farmer scoring always gets you. The main thing to remember is go city by city and see how many farmers are touching it. As far as a review for Carcassonne, I would give it 3 if I'm going to go with the meeple rating. 3 meeples out of 5, which I believe means I'd play it, sure, okay. But it's certainly not my top. I know it's one of those Catan, Carcassonne, Ticket to Ride, like a big 3 gateway game. But it's just not as fun as a lot of other tile-laying games. Like I'm thinking King Domino, Takenoko. I guess you could include maybe a game like Eclipse or what other games? A lot of hex games where you lay tiles down and move the board, stuff like that. So this was cool at the time, but there are a lot of other games that are better that have come out since. Still, not a bad game. I'd play it. I have fun with it. So that's about it. As I said in another video, I actually like the kids version better. It's a lot simpler, and it's just, you can do it really quickly. It's easy to calculate, and obviously you can play with kids. So that's a good thing. So anyway, I'll put a link to this below if anyone wants to check the game out. And if you have any questions about scoring or anything else, just ask me in the comments. Take care.